A total power grid failure will disrupt your entire life. If you've ever had to live through an extended power outage, you know the inconvenience of not having electricity. If the circumstances were to be much worse, could you survive a power grid failure? The potential for failure like this isn't reserved for the plot of a science fiction movie anymore. The military and various third-party think tanks have gamed out numerous scenarios in which widespread power loss could happen for weeks or even months. If you've ever sat in the dark when your local power company had a hiccup, you've probably at least considered the idea of a renewable energy source for electricity production. Most people understand that having a backup power source of some kind is a good way to keep access to power when traditional energy sources fail. Well, today, I have something for you to start you on your way to being prepared for just such a scenario. So let's check it out. Alright, welcome back. So I have a package deal here for you today from 4Patriots. Some of you are familiar with it, some of you may not be. But this is the Patriot Power Sidekick, and it does come with a 40-watt solar panel. So the possibility of a long-term power outage has been in the news. The grid failures, the this, the that. You know, they've been talking about it a lot. We've seen power outages in California from brownouts and rolling blackouts, from too much demand. We have the possibility of a lot of these electric cars coming on our grid and eventually overloading it. So there is a possibility of extended power outages in our country. And to keep safe during those, it's handy to have a way to have some kind of backup for your power. So the goal of Patriot Power, the Patriot Power generator here, is to give people a generator, and they call it a generator, it's really a battery bank or a power station, so you can keep your power up and running. And it isn't cost prohibitive. You're not storing a ton of gas. You don't have the added danger of storing gasoline in your garage or in your house, God forbid, you know. There's a lot of safety issues when it comes to running a generator. There's also maintenance. Are you prepared to, you know, maybe clean out a carburetor or buy new air filters for your generator, whatever, change the oil? This is almost maintenance free, really, other than keeping it charged up. So this mini power plant keeps your devices on when the power goes out. You can use it safely in your home. Again, you don't want to run a generator in your home, but this has no carbon monoxide fumes, noise, smell. It's very stealthy, which is also handy during a power outage because you'll get a lot of people who don't prepare and then come knocking on your door. Hey, I heard your generator. Can I charge my phone? Can I run this? Can I do that? Nice and stealthy. You don't have to advertise that you have it. It also has one of the most advanced batteries on the market right now, which is lithium iron phosphate. Very superior technology to most of the lithium-ion batteries. It'll offer you more cycles, or charges, and better power retention. It's also 8.4 pounds, so it's super lightweight. You can see it's rather small here. It's not a big unit. So you can carry this from room to room. You can run your TV off it, say, and when it's bedtime, you can go in there and run a radio off it. Whatever you want to do, it's portable. Some of the larger systems aren't. And some of the larger systems may not fit into your lifestyle. If you have a tiny home and you have this big, huge, gigantic, $2,000 Blue Eddy sitting there, it's going to be a little difficult to move that around. So, let me give you a little information on it. It can handle 300 watts of peak power. And with the lithium phosphate batteries, you're going to get 2,000 cycles on this. So you can charge this up from dead 2,000 times, or more than 10 years of battery life. That is a definite benefit to the lithium iron phosphate batteries. Okay? It will power your critical devices in an emergency. You'll stay connected to family, important news, first responders. You probably could run a small ham radio off of this easily. A little dual bander, 2-meter 440 rig. No problem off this. It will recharge with the 40-watt solar panel, or you have two options here. They give you a plug for your vehicle, cigarette lighter plug. If you do charge this in your vehicle, make sure your vehicle is running. It doesn't have to necessarily be driving, but make sure the engine's on and the alternator's working, or you'll kill your battery long term. It also has a wall plug. I have tried this. It works very, very well. One thing I did like about it is it's got an indicator light on it, and it will be red when charging and green when done. I kind of like that. Even though you can stare right at this, you may have to put this at an inconvenient position like that, or somewhere where you can't see the front. This will tell you right away what's going on with it. So I do like that. It does have a light on the back of it. Let's turn it on for a second here. And you have a light on the back here. So you've got 3 modes of light with this. You've got your bright, medium, your SOS, and your flasher to get attention. So it does have that. Again, I kind of think sometimes that these lights are afterthoughts on these generators, but they actually do come in handy for ease of just grabbing something and looking around and saying, oh, where did I put my charger cord, or where's my, solar panel? You can pick this up and just kind of look around and see what's going on. You do have cooling fans on the side, either side, so you will draw the air in if it starts to get too hot. Again, it gives you peace of mind that you and your family are protected with a backup plan when power outages strike. And, this could be for winter storms, whatever, hurricanes. We saw in Texas, after that big hurricane went through, that the grid was overloaded, the grid failed. So having something like this, definitely a handy little thing to have. One of the things I did notice that it does is it shows you your input and your drain. I like that on these little power stations. I can see, hey, I'm pulling 50 watts, or, oh, wow, I'm putting in 110 watts, or whatever, It's a little bit easier that way. Now, you can charge this with a larger panel. If you already have a panel, you can certainly charge it with a larger panel. And this panel does not come with the kickstands. That's something to think about. How are you going to put it out up there? Now, another suggestion I always had was you take one of those camping chairs, the camping chair without the webbing on it, and you just build the base of it and stick it on there. Me, I'm just going to put this flat on the ground today, and we're going to try it out. So that is what we're going to do next. I'm going to show you the panel really quick. Let me get the boxes out of the way here and show you how the panel works. The panel is fairly simple, kind of intuitive, does everything like every other panel does. One of the nice things I like to see that they included were not only a regular connector for this particular unit, but Anderson power poles for any other particular unit. That's kind of handy, but this is your standard plug. You're going to be a 5.3 millimeter to 5.3 millimeter plug. Plugs in right here. You can also charge a phone on this while you're charging it up. You have your little thing there, so you can charge a USB. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. There you go. USB plug off that, whatever you're charging, along with charging the power generator. Again, very simple. 4 panels at probably 10 watts each, being that it's a 40-watt panel. Makes sense. Very simple to see here. You see what it looks like? There are 2 more under here, just in case people are wondering. So it's a pretty easy item to use. So we're going to put this outside. We're going to top off this generator. Then we're going to try some items with it and see how well it holds up. And then we're going to wrap up. All right, for super easy, lazy kind of easy way to stick this thing out, I literally put it on my workbench chair there. I just have it leaning in the sun. It is not optimized. It's just sitting there. I wanted to see, just throwing it out, see what I could get off it. I do have the unit over here. And I think I have a solution so that we'll actually be able to see what I'm getting in. Now I'm getting about 17, 15. Again, it's not in direct sun because I didn't want to put it in direct sun so you could actually see it charging. But you can see the battery going up and down. It's at 73%. And we are getting about 17 watts in. Now I could get way more than that if I moved this in the right direction. So I don't want you to think it's the panel's fault. It's just an easy way for me to do this and put it out here for you to see what it looks like. So let's get it back up on the table and let's test it out with some stuff. Alright, so we got it set up in here. I do have the USB plugs turned on. We will turn on the AC. The USB and the DC plugs do work while charging. They will do pass-through charging. However, your AC power will not do pass-through charging. So when this is charging, you can't plug your things into these. Now, this is a 300-watt unit, okay? It's only going to run stuff up to 300 watts. That means 150, 150, 300 here, nothing here, however you work it out. So it will only run stuff up to 300 watts. This is an excellent something for a beginner or a person getting started. Wants to learn a little bit more about solar power. By the way, putting the panels outside on the bottom there, when I moved them around a little bit up top, I was able to get it up to 32 watts. So that's pretty darn good for those little tiny panels. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to plug in is the fan. And we're going to slowly, gradually plug some stuff into it and see how well it holds up. We're going to turn on the unit, plug it in there. And there goes the fan. I don't want to point it at the camera so you don't have ridiculous wind noise. I'm actually going to put it on low so it's not noisy. Kind of annoying. Alright, we're going to turn on the USB now. We're going to plug in a radio here. Okay, there we go. You guys might remember this guy here, the Climate little blow-up tube. We're going to plug him in too. Now you should know why I said I wanted a bigger, longer cord. So he's working. And lastly, and I'm going to put this on high just for the test because I wanted to draw as much power as possible. Lastly, we're going to plug in this little mini fridge. Now this is something I feel that if you guys have medicine that you need to keep cold, any kind of like diabetic, if you're diabetic, something like this is invaluable. This will run off AC and DC power, but today we got it set up to run off of a plug here for AC power. We're going to plug that in and get it going. And yes, I have a little snake's nest of wires on here. 83, so it shot up to 83. That draws about 40 watts. It's really not all that bad. I'm going to close it up. So, there we go. We haven't even broken 100 watts yet, and you can see there's no problem at all with this. It's running everything just fine. Now, what I'm going to try next is my mini fridge and see if it would run that, because that's another excellent idea for those of you on medications that need to be kept frozen or refrigerated all the time. So let's take it over to the other side and try that out. All right, something interesting. I forgot that the mini fridge has a huge draw. What I did to get it rolling, because when I first plugged it in, it wasn't pulling anything. It was cold enough. I left the door open for about 10 minutes, came back in and plugged it in, and I forgot that the initial draw on that mini fridge is around 700 watts. So, of course, a 300 watt unit can't do it. However, I did find something else that will test it out. This is my little mini portable Bissell vacuum that I use back in here when I make a mess, which is quite often. So I'm going to plug this in. We're going to start it up and see how it works. I'm going to just plug it in there. Okay. I'm going to turn that AC on. And there we go. 181 watts, 183 watts. Let's do a little suction and see if that adds any. Nope. But it's definitely working. So at least post-apocalypse, you can keep your house clean. Yeah, that is something to think about when you're buying a unit. If you're buying something that you want to run any kind of refrigeration, you're going to need it to be at least 500 or more. Now, my mini fridge, it ran perfectly, and it would probably run that for a very long time. And the cool part about that mini fridge is it also has a cigarette lighter plug, which will work pass-through. So I could have unplugged it from here, switched it out, switched it back to DC, plugged it in here, and run that with the solar panel outside and continuously charge that battery while running the device. So let's get it up on the table. We're going to finish up, give you some last-minute comments on it, and let you know where you can pick one up. All right, so we're back on the counter here. I am going to charge this up after this video is all done. It was interesting to see that my little fridge over there wouldn't work with this because it draws so much current on startup. With my other higher powered units, that thing did just fine. But it is good to know. So when you're buying products, especially when you're new, like let's say you just bought this and you're like, I'm going to run out and buy a refrigerator. Make sure that the total wattage and the peak wattage, which sometimes isn't on there, you may have to email the manufacturer, is less than 300 watts. I believe this has a floor of about 500, and I know that shoots up to about 700. So I believe this can peak at about 500 or so, and I know that shoots up to 700. So you understand why it didn't work. It just gave me an error code and beeped. However, with the vacuum, you saw it was drawing 181, 190 watts, doing just fine. So it will work. It will be an excellent starter unit. Again, this is something that you buy for, say, you have no solar at all. Okay? Maybe you live in an apartment. Maybe you don't have a place to stick solar panels out. A nice, convenient 40-watt panel that's smaller, that isn't going to take up your whole window or break something. You can just put it in the window, and if sun-facing window, put this down and charge it up. Very convenient, very easy to use. No worry about fumes, gas storage, all that other stuff, maintenance on generators. It just works. So, it's an awesome backup plan when disaster strikes. So, what do you get with it? Well, of course you get this. It has a capacity of 300 watts. It's 93,500 milliamps, I believe, milliamp hours. The life cycles, again, 2,000 life cycles, 10-year battery life. And that is the lithium phosphate battery. That's why it's a little bit higher on the life cycles. You do have your two USB outputs, your input, your PD input, your PD output, your two plugs here for AC. All of your DC plugs, your DC input for your input for everything, actually DC and AC, and of course your 12-volt, 10-amp regulated supply there for your cigarette lighter plug. So definitely a neat little system. I will give you the link down below. Of course, it's for sale by 4Patriots. And one of the things I like that 4Patriots does is they take things that are geared towards newbies, people who are just getting into prepping, and that's what I like teaching, you know. Something like this, maybe you'd search for hours on Amazon and read reviews. Some people would say, this is amazing. Some people would say, this caught my house on fire. They just do the work for you. They go out, they look for the stuff, they make sure it's good quality stuff. Everything I've tried for them has been top quality. I got to say that. Maybe a little more expensive sometimes, but this is actually a pretty good deal altogether with the panel. So all in all, I think it's a pretty good deal. I will give you a link where you can check it out and see if you like it. And don't forget to check out all our other links. We have our Amazon affiliate store down below, our freeze-dried wholesaler store. I have a dessert coming up from him. So if you guys stay tuned, probably tomorrow or the next day, you're going to see my dessert video. We're going to try out some of his strawberry stuff and make ourselves a really good dessert. And if you click that link on freeze-dried wholesalers down there, you will save 15% on your order. Now, food supply is getting tight when it comes to emergency food. He even has a 2 or 3 day shipping delay because he's really busy. So you want to start stocking up. If you don't get caught like last time in March. I remember people emailing me saying, hey, where's my food? And I'm like, I don't work for that company. I just advertise their food. I can't tell you. I'm not at their physical plant. Sometimes with Thrive, I can do that. I can email a rep and say, hey, you know, what's going on? This guy ordered his food. Where is it? But I can't do that with everybody. So now is the time to start stocking up. Freeze-dried wholesaler down there will save you 15% on that link. Below that is our Thrive Life freeze-dried food store as well. There I will be able to get a little more response if things get crazy. They are out of stock of a few items right now. But you definitely want to start stocking up on food. Anyway, folks, I thank you for watching. Thank you for your time today. Stay safe and stay prepared.